I've always struggled with like protein deficiency.
It's like here in front of me, like I'm tipping on both sides, you know?
If your parents tried to feed you dog, what would you say?
I'm a Christian, so I like to go by my religion, first of all. So, you know, in the Bible, it says basically that I'm allowed to eat certain meats, right?
Religious point of view, we have like in Islam, we have something called halal.
I think it happens even in halal slaughterhouses in Canada with the large numbers and the speed that they're putting them through.
Yeah, but we have a thing where we say like Bismillah, which means in the name of God, where you trust like in God that He will make sure that the animal is not feeling it.
Do you think that actually decreases the pain for the animal or helps clear our conscience? How did that video make you guys feel?
Obviously, I didn't enjoy watching that.
I can't even like comment right now. You know, I don't really think there's any real right way that you can really kill an animal.
And like after I saw that video, yeah, like I do feel bad about it.
I kind of knew this was already like going on, right? But I think that it's nice to kind of have that reminder every now and then that it's like, you know, this is actively part of our society.
Hi everyone, this is Sheena, and I ran into these lovely gentlemen when I was walking here in downtown Toronto, and I asked them if they wanted to talk about animals. One of them mentioning he was studying going to study animal biology. They're all about 17 years old. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Bikram.
What are you studying?
Social sciences at Mac.
At Mac.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Evian and I'm studying architecture.
I'm Maruja and I'm going to study animal biology at Guelph.
I'm Christopher. I study law and history, and I'm going to do it at Western.
Right. My name is Bibo. I'm going to study medicine.
My name is Jujar. I'm planning to go to Mac study for electrical engineering.
Cool, nice. Thanks, guys. Okay, so a couple of questions. Do you guys like animals? And yeah. What do you like about animals?
Just the uniqueness of them. I mean, they're so unique. They're all different in their own special ways.
Yeah.
Especially the culture behind them, you know, like what they represent.
And what do you think they represent?
Nature, of course, yeah. Yeah.
So I have a dog, so their unconditional love is like the most like loving thing ever. So I just love him like my son. So that's what I like about them.
Yeah, cool. Love that. I couldn't agree more.
I'm a big animal guy. I grew up on a farm a little bit when I was a kid, so I've been around them a lot, and it's they're just like cute, right? Like you want to like pet animals. They're, you know, adorable. So
I mean, I look at like admiring them and like what they bring to like the world, how some animals like bees, they pollinate, they like flowers and stuff. And like, yeah.
No, I love looking at bees these days. There seem to be a lot of bees and wasps around. Have you noticed? And butterflies. Yeah.
I just like different species. It's interesting to see something other than us. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so the second question is, what do you guys think about animal abuse or people who abuse animals?
Honestly, it's just wrong. Like they're helpless. They're not sentient. Like we're just using our power over them. It's ridiculous.
It ain't right, you know, like they're living beings too. So yeah, they deserve rights as well, of course.
Like as a dog owner myself, I'm completely against it. It's just like I love him too much to like just like, you know, even see him like even hurt a little, even when he's like sick. I just feel so bad. So I can't imagine just like physically abusing him. So yeah, I'm not for it.
I agree.
the big problem right now, I think, is in the commercial industry and like in the beauty industry, they like to still do a lot of like animal testing and stuff. So I don't like that. I don't agree with that. I think if you're going to like test it on people who are going to pay instead of like just choosing random animals. But you know, you can't do much about it. So
you cannot support it by not paying for products that are tested on animals. A lot of times the animal testing is highly ineffective when it comes to drugs in humans or medicines in humans. It's highly ineffective. It's a very outdated process. And we can there's plenty of products that are tested on animals, right? Yeah. How about you?
I'm definitely against it. Like, part of my religion, I'm Muslim, so we definitely look down upon it. And if you do end up like hurting animals, like for example, we have cats. If you hurt a cat, you could like go to hell. So I'm definitely against that. I don't believe in it.
And still as well, I just see like animals also having emotions. So if you're attacking an animal and seeing pain, it's like it's no different from seeing another person in pain.
Exactly, because we're all animals too, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So the last question, a little bit trickier. I'm not saying with any judgment because I was part of the system for a very, very long time, for actually 42 years of my life. Are there any industries where you pay for people to be violent towards animals, to be cruel to animals, to kill animals? By that I mean, do you consume meat, dairy, eggs, and fish?
I mean, I do. I mean, it's the meat industry, but the meat industry, even just the entertainment industry, when you have even like circuses and stuff like that. I mean, eating meat and all that is like, I can't really do much, but I can definitely boycott like entertainment or like circuses and stuff like that.
Why do you think you can't do much about the animals that you eat?
just because personally, like going into my personal history, I've always struggled with like protein deficiency. So I mean, I could go for plant-based options, but sometimes it's not enough.
Yeah. Do you think plants have protein?
Oh, of course, of course.
Right. So the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is the largest body of health and nutrition professionals in the world, have said that plant-based diets are suitable for all stages of life, including teenagers, athletes, pregnant people, infants, the elderly. That is suitable for all, properly planned, is suitable for all stages of life. So you can get more than enough protein on plant-based diets. Is that something you want to learn more about?
Of course.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Okay. How about you? Do you ever consider those animals that you eat, or do you eat animals?
Yeah, like I don't know, like I'm kind of mixed into it since like it's in like my culture to like eat like wild animals, right? So then like I don't know where to like put the bases on it. Like I'm like in the middle, but then like, you know, since like you're here in front of me, like I'm tipping on both sides, you know?
But what does your conscience tell you?
When I think about it, it's like it's wrong. But then like I don't know. It's wrong, but then like it's right. Since I'm just used to like just eating meat and like all varieties of food, right? Like I don't know, like personally I like to cook, so then like, you know, I can't really say anything else about that.
And have you tried cooking vegan food, say?
No, not really. Like I've heard about like the concept of it, but I've never tried it. But maybe I'll try it like when I get home.
How about yourself as an animal lover?
When my parents cook, obviously I do eat the meat sometimes, but me personally, so I go to the gym a lot, so I get my protein in, but I always make sure it's vegan protein, vegan creatine. So I just make sure it's like plant-based, just because I just like animals so much. But obviously, because I still with my parents, whatever they make, I do eat. But yeah, I do feel bad for them. So yeah, but I'm trying to do my best.
I'll ask you one question. If your parents tried to feed you dog, what would you say?
Oh, I would definitely not do it. No.
Do you think there's a moral difference between a chicken and a dog, or a cow and a dog?
I feel like it's just like a culture thing, I guess, again. But yeah, no, I mean, I like chickens, I like dogs, I like cows, I like them all. So I do feel bad for them when I do like eat them, but like I can't really do anything about it right now. But I'm trying my best to just stay on, like whenever I take my supplements and stuff, I do make sure they're vegan. Yeah, so
you do have a choice. You do have a choice, right? Like I said, if you wouldn't eat a dog, if your parents gave it to you, you can always say, you know what, it's not sitting well with me. On those occasions, you can actually, I'm going to show you guys footage of what happens to animals. Show that to your parents, and I'm sure they would actually agree that what's happening to them is quite wrong. And there's always, you know, you do have a choice in the matter, like you would if it was a dog. Yeah. How about yourself?
Okay, so you know, I sometimes have like this weird sort of like conflict, I guess, because it's like I kind of understand that just from a religious viewpoint, right? You know, I'm a Christian, so I like to go by my religion first of all. So you know, in the Bible, it says basically that I'm allowed to eat certain meats, right? So if I'm thinking about this from a Christian viewpoint, it's more so that I can like say it's okay because it's allowed in my religion. But just from like a personal viewpoint, I don't like what they do really, like how they like treat animals in the industry, because they're very, very harsh. Like I know they pump them up with antibiotics and then they're like have them all crowded and stuff. And I don't agree with that, really. I think if they should be, you know, living good lives, they shouldn't be like born into just to be eaten. But it's a very hard kind of position to stand in.
Like most religions, and I have to say most religions, all religions, it's not mandatory to eat meat. Of course, it doesn't say that you cannot eat it, but it was at a time of necessity. When most of our prophets ate meat, it was out of absolute necessity. And there's a lot of quotations in the Bible, in the Quran, in the Torah that support being as kind to animals as possible. And it's not like, say, if I wanted to convert to, say, Christian or Islam, would I have to kill an animal? Would I have to eat an animal? And it's always a choice. So it's there, but we don't have to take part in it. I will still go to heaven if I don't eat animals. Of course, it is still saying that you can if you want to. What do you think about that? And also dominion. But, you know, it says we have dominion over animals. Dominion can also mean stewardship. And what we do to animals now is not anywhere near considered stewardship.
Like I've tried to kind of move away from eating like hardline meat all the time. Like I don't know if like eggs are better, but you know, from a certain perspective, I think eating eggs are a lot better than waking up every morning and eating like a steak. But it's definitely a hard position for me because at the same time, like I know it's kind of wrong the way they treat them, but you know, I'm repeating my point here. It's like I can't have much say, right? But
Why do you think you can't have much say?
it's just like you could try to protest things and say like this is that and that's that, but there's still going to be a lot of people who just are going to be stuck in their beliefs, right? So sometimes you can't just change the way everybody thinks, but
Yeah, it's true. You can't. There will always be people in the world doing bad things, right? Murder is something we'll never be able to stop. But just because other people are doing it and they might not stop, should we take part in it? If something is fundamentally wrong, it's wrong. What do you think?
No, I totally agree with that, right? Like if you can make personal like good choices in your life that are gonna like be for the better good, then do that. Like I know my cousin, for example, is a big tofu eater, big into like all these like alternatives instead of like eating meat. But like it's a decision that I'm gonna have to make it down the line, right? And only I can really make that decision. So but I definitely think about it a bit. So it's, yeah.
And like you said, you mentioned, you touched on kind of what difference can one person make. It is very much supply and demand, the whole industry. I don't know, you guys are young, so all you've known is that there's always a lot of vegan products available in the stores, the tofu and the beans and the Beyond Meats and that kind of stuff. But when I was younger, none of that was there. We had one tofurkey hot dog. So it's all supply and demand. So we vote with our dollars. We're trying to say, when you buy an animal product or animal flesh, meat, dairy, eggs, and fish, you're actually paying for that next animal to be killed on your behalf. And it's all supply and demand. So we have a lot of power in our buying power.
Yeah, no. I definitely think that capitalism kind of allows for that, for you to do supply and demand, the whole idea. So
Run by money, and the industry have money because of us, because we buy it. So it's our money. Of course, there are subsidies as well, which the government gives them billions of dollars of subsidies, which they shouldn't, because it's bad for the animals, bad for our health, and environmentally destructive.
I have a question. What do you think of like the cricket farms they're trying to start out, like as an alternate source of protein? Are you against that too because they're like insects, or?
Yeah, I mean, insects are sentient. Do you know the meaning of genosentient? You probably, yeah. So insects are also sentient, and in the absence of necessity, I think it's cruelty. If it's a protein source for people that are in need and have it be their only protein source, I'm not going to say anything to them. But for us here in Toronto, I think it's a bit of a moot point, because they are sentient and we have other protein sources. Yeah. How about yourself?
So traditionally, I did grow up like eating meat, consuming animal products. It's like you don't see the story behind it. But like growing up, you understand like how multiple companies, they have like different ways of treating animals and how they produce for you. Like, so religious point of view, we have like in Islam, we have something called halal, which is like you cannot torture the animal in any way. It's like the first touch of like pain must be like kill. It's like we have.
Do you think that happens in Canada?
Definitely, there is some that will happen, but I think majority no. That's why I like stick to like halal products, which is where.
I think it happens even in halal slaughterhouses in Canada with the large numbers and the speed that they're putting them through.
Morally, it shouldn't, because like based on halal, like it's built on trust.
But now, due to the large-scale global demand for meat and the development of modern technology, the halal slaughter process as we know it has been met with new challenges.
Now you're talking about companies that are worth billions of dollars that are slaughtering hundreds of thousands, if not millions of animals, on a weekly or a daily basis. So with that, it comes with a lot of ambiguity. Are these conditions that are specified in Sharia being met in these animals that are being slaughtered, or are they not?
Where like you'd expect that there wouldn't be any like torture towards the animal, but at the same time, like I would start distancing myself from like most torture abuse towards animals, where the stuff that I'm consuming, I would know that it'd be like it was treated fairly.
I've seen halal slaughter. It can take many, many, many more minutes for the animal to die, because they're not. So basically halal slaughter is they're not stunned before the knife is dragged across their throat. They're hung upside down to bleed out. So they're not stunned before. Now I'll ask you, if I was to kill you, would you rather, as a conscious person, pull a knife across your throat and hang you upside down to bleed out, or would you rather be stunned first?
Well, being stung, that would be like, you would feel it at first, and that would send like electricity throughout your whole body, which is never good, because I've seen videos where afterwards you see like throughout muscle memory, you see the meat is like flapping around after it's already like been dead. Where
that also happens in halal slaughter because of the nerve and the body's like it's choking. A lot of times the cows especially will choke on their own blood because it's going through their esophagus.
Yeah, but we have a thing where we say like Bismillah, which means in the name of God. where you do it where you trust like in God that He will make sure that the animal is not feeling it.
Do you think that actually decreases the pain for the animal or helps clear our conscience?
I mean, I'd like to think that like in God's way, He would make it so that you're not hurting the animal, because towards that, that's like hurting another person, just like a living being, which is sinful as well. So when I would think like I put it in the name of God, I would believe that God has His own way of thinking, and He would make sure that the animal's not being like tortured in a way that is like worse.
And I guess it leaves a lot of questions open. Does it happen? Is it happening in the best way? But the way to really ensure that is by not eating it at all. By living a vegan lifestyle, you're ensuring that you're not doing anything against God's will. Well, God's will, for one, because it's not mandatory to eat animals. And when you're eating meat, even dairy, here, you don't know if it's halal. You don't know if the processes are truly being, and there's been a lot of investigations into halal farms in the UK and here, and there really is no true halal. And if you kind of want to err on the side of caution, do you think just leaving animal products off your plate might be the best way to do it?
I would definitely consider it. Like I would have to like find my own investigations. Like I would like to go to farms and find out like how this is happening. But if I see like the unethical ways, I'll definitely consider going to veganism.
Yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. And how about you? Sorry, it took so long.
Question, sorry?
Yeah, so the question is, are there any industries where you pay for people to abuse animals, be violent towards animals, kill animals? And by that I mean, do you consume meat, dairy, eggs, and fish?
Yeah, sometimes I do. So I'm not really like a pure meat eater, like most of my family is vegetarian. Like sometimes I'd go and eat chicken or egg. Yeah.
I did too, especially when I was young. Okay. I'm going to show you guys, would you guys be okay with seeing a video on, do you all consume dairy? Yeah, you all consume dairy. Okay. How did that video make you guys feel?
Kind of sad.
Obviously, I didn't enjoy watching that. I would think there'd be more ethical ways to do it, but I don't know much about it.
Kind of saddens me to see it.
I can't even like comment right now.
Do you, because you said it's a more ethical way to do it. My brain, when I first learned about these things, I was scrambling to find, surely there's a better way, surely there's a better way. And I was like, is there a humane way to kill any animal who doesn't want to die? What does that look like? Can anyone like tell me what that would look like to kill an animal who doesn't want to die?
Lario.
I mean, so I don't think there would be like ways to properly kill an animal, because obviously none of them want to be killed or expect to be killed. But at the same time, you got to think about consciousness, right? So you think like us as human beings, we're constantly aware of our surroundings. Like we don't want to just wake up one day and expect like someone's gonna come out and kill us. But I don't think animals carry that like brain capacity to think about how, like, I don't want to get killed. But at the same time, like when they see a threat towards them, they'd obviously like first instinct is to run away. I don't see like any other ways to do it.
Any good way to do it? Yeah. And you know, when we're talking about consciousness and stuff, the argument isn't really, do they have the same consciousness as us? Are they as intelligent as us? It's, do they have the same capacity to suffer and feel pain? Those are the questions. Do you think they suffer and feel pain?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that animals have capabilities, but maybe they don't know how to think, but I definitely think they have the capabilities to feel. Because, you know, my dogs and my cats, right, they're a lot smarter than, you know, you'd think they would be, right? Like they wait in certain areas, they do certain things, right? Like you definitely understand that they have that capacity to at least like, you know, show basic emotions. You know, I don't really think there's any real right way that you can really kill an animal. I mean, the most painless would maybe be like a guillotine type situation, but even then, like, are they going to do that? No, not probably. It's like whatever's most cost efficient, I think, is what a lot of the companies like to do, right? Yeah, it is.
The quickest, they want the quickest and the quietest way. But if that animal has one life, you have one life, your dog has one life. Even if we find this miraculous way that avoids this much pain and suffering, it's still going to be pain. Is it then ethical?
Well, I think it's ethical to the extent that, you know, we're doing our absolute best to make sure, like, because that brings up the question of necessity versus abundance, right? Because if it's a necessity and we're trying to do like the most ethical way to basically murder an animal, like that's the most ethical thing we could do, right? But if
is it a necessity here in Toronto?
it's definitely maybe like in a country that's like war torn like the Ukraine, then maybe it'd be a necessity. Sorry. But like definitely in Canada, I think we have the resources where it's not necessary that we would need to kill animals, right?
Tell me now, honestly, where does that leave you guys? What would stop you from going vegan?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I still have like my medical concerns, but I mean,
Yeah, I can give you some information about that. Definitely learn about it, how you can meet all your protein requirements and all your amino acids by being on a vegan diet. Do you have any other concerns?
no, not really.
How about you? What would hold you back from going vegan
What would hold me back?
and not paying for what you saw or that not happening because of your purchases?
Preventing me from going vegan, I guess it's just I'm just so used to like eating meat. Like it's just like I don't know how to explain it. But then like after I saw that video, yeah, like I do feel bad about it.
How about you? What is there anything holding you back from being vegan? You seem like you're already kind of
Halfway there. Yeah, I'm trying to do better. I'm slowly getting more to. It's just the prices for the plant-based stuff is a little high. But if they were a little lower, I would definitely opt that. Other than just straight up chicken, I'd go for the plant-based one. But it's just the prices right now.
like a lot of the plant-based meats, they are a little bit more pricier because they're not subsidized by the government. Our taxpayers' money are not subsidizing them. But actually, plant-based diets are about 30% cheaper because of things like beans, lentils, potatoes, pastas, fruits, vegetables. Especially when you're going to bulk store, we go to an Indian shop, you buy a big bag of beans for a few dollars and it'll last you weeks. So it actually is cheaper, but when you're buying the healthier stuff.
I'll look into it, I guess.
How about you? What would stop you, or something you want to look into?
Well, there's definitely a lot of things that I kind of like learned. Like I kind of knew this was already like going on, right? But I think that it's nice to kind of have that reminder every now and then that it's like, this is actively part of our society. And you can't really like overlook. I think a lot of people just tend to kind of overlook this stuff and be like, oh, whatever, I don't really care, right? But I definitely think I'm going to think about it a little bit, maybe look a little bit more into my faith when it comes to approaching these things for sure. As my friend said over there, like, I think the big problem why I don't have a lot of like vegan kind of dietaries or like just like options in my household personally is just because of the pricing, right? Like if pricing was cheap and they have like the same effects that regular meat have, then 100%. Like I was like one of the first people to buy a Beyond Meat burger when they came out, but yeah, so I definitely will look into it a little bit more after today.
All those products are out there, they're available, but yeah, they are a little bit pricier. And then look up into eating whole food plant-based, because that is definitely the healthiest and like the cheapest way to do it. It is a little bit of a lifestyle change, but do you think learning a little bit about it and the inconvenience to you a little bit is worth the life of an animal?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, if I can do what's best to kind of do for the greater good, like if I can just change my life, because like it's not that big of a deal. Like if I'm gonna get the same result and it's like I don't feel any different, then I'm not gonna complain, right? Like I don't mind. So yeah.
I thought it was gonna be so hard, and it's been like the easiest transition and the most rewarding transition when you know what you're no longer contributing to. How about yourself? What would hold you back from being vegan? You're pretty close as well.
Yeah, I agree with them. Pricing and maybe like, I don't know, like if it's available nearby.
All around here in Toronto, Happy Cow is a really good app. Like if you guys are gonna go for lunch, look up happycow.net. It picks up your location and it tells you all the closest vegan restaurants close to wherever you are in the world. Yeah, it's really good. Do you guys have any questions for me?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, thank you so much. So remember, as long as you're buying meat, dairy, eggs, and fish, animals are being abused and killed because of your purchases. Yeah, okay, thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you.